Unit 3. Confirm the voice match. The dispatcher asked the question twice because nobody in the room answered the first time. The audio had already been replayed 4 times, and every person inside the communications center at Yellowstone National Park was staring at the waveform frozen on the monitor. The technician finally looked up. Voice authentication is 98%. Who is it? The technician swallowed. Ranger Ethan Cole. Nobody spoke, because Ranger Ethan Cole had died 6 months earlier. The official report stated that Ethan fell during a winter rescue operation near Avalanche Ridge. 2 members of his team witnessed the accident. Recovery crews found his body 3 days later beneath a collapsed shelf of ice. The funeral was attended by family, park staff, county officials, and more than 100 local residents. There was no confusion about his identity. There was no possibility that he was alive. Yet, at 2:17 a.m. on September 14th, an emergency radio transmission had come through on a frequency used exclusively by park rangers. The message lasted 27 seconds. The voice was clear, calm, professional, recognizable. "This is Ranger Cole. I need immediate response at Sector 12, north of Black Pine Creek. 1 adult male injured, possible hypothermia. Subject says his name is Daniel Mercer. Repeat, Daniel Mercer. He won't survive the night if you don't get here soon." The transmission ended with static. No further communication followed. The strange part wasn't the voice. The strange part was the name. Nobody had reported a missing hiker named Daniel Mercer. Not yet. By sunrise, a search operation was underway anyway. The location mentioned in the call sat nearly 12 miles from the nearest maintained trail. Black Pine Creek wound through one of the least visited sections of the park, an area packed with steep ravines, fallen timber, and dense lodgepole pine forests that made helicopter visibility difficult. Search coordinator Mark Delaney treated the situation like a standard rescue despite the bizarre circumstances. If someone was injured out there, waiting could kill them. 3 ground teams deployed shortly after dawn. By noon, they found nothing. No campsite, no tracks, no injured hiker, no evidence anyone had been there. At 1:42 p.m., dispatch received a call from Idaho. A woman named Laura Mercer reported her husband missing. His name was Daniel Mercer. The room went silent again. Laura explained that Daniel had left for a solo backpacking trip 4 days earlier. He was supposed to return the previous afternoon. His phone was dead. His truck was missing. Nobody could reach him. When dispatch requested a recent photograph, Laura emailed one within minutes. Search teams compared the image against a driver's license database. The man in the photo matched the description given in Ranger Cole's radio transmission. A description nobody outside the dispatcher had heard. The call from Ethan had included details omitted from public records. Brown jacket, blue backpack, facial injury. Those details matched Daniel Mercer exactly. By evening, concern had turned into something else. Nobody wanted to say it aloud, but everyone was thinking the same thing. If Ethan Cole was dead, how did he know Daniel Mercer existed? The next morning, investigators pulled archived radio logs. The transmission originated from a repeater station located near Granite Pass, more than 20 miles from Black Pine Creek. That wasn't unusual. Mountain terrain often distorted signal routes. What caught attention was the equipment identifier attached to the call. Every Ranger radio possessed a unique digital signature. The transmission came from Ethan Cole's radio. The same radio recovered with his body 6 months earlier. The radio was supposed to be locked inside evidence storage. When staff checked the inventory room, they found it exactly where it should have been, sealed, tagged, untouched. The battery had been removed. The device hadn't been powered on since March, yet the identifier matched perfectly. Investigators suspected a technical glitch, maybe corrupted data, maybe a software error, maybe somebody had spoofed the signal. The explanation sounded reasonable until technicians reviewed the raw recording. The voice wasn't merely similar to Ethan. It contained speech patterns unique to him, specific pauses, specific pronunciation habits. Even a phrase he routinely used during rescue calls, Subject won't survive the night. His former teammates recognized it immediately. By the third day, search crews expanded the operation. Nearly 60 personnel entered the wilderness. Helicopters conducted grid sweeps. Canine units worked drainage routes. Volunteers checked remote trails. Late that afternoon, Team Bravo discovered Daniel Mercer's backpack. It rested against a fallen pine nearly 2 miles from the coordinates mentioned in the transmission. The pack contained food, water filters, extra clothing, and a folded map. Nothing appeared stolen. Nothing appeared damaged. The disturbing detail lay inside the map. Someone had drawn a circle around Black Pine Creek. A second circle surrounded an abandoned ranger cabin that no longer appeared on public trail maps. The structure had been closed for decades after storm damage. Most visitors never learned it existed. Search teams redirected immediately. The cabin sat in a narrow valley hidden between ridges. By the time rescuers reached it, daylight was fading. The front door hung open. Mud covered the floor. Animal tracks crossed the interior. Nobody had lived there in years, but someone had been there recently. A campfire ring sat behind the cabin. Fresh ashes remained beneath the stones. Inside, investigators discovered an empty water bottle, a protein bar wrapper, and something else, a notebook. The first pages were blank. The final pages contained writing, not journal entries, directions, coordinates, times, dates, some crossed out, some circled. One date had been written repeatedly, September 14th, the day Ethan's transmission arrived. Nobody understood what it meant. Then a deputy noticed something scribbled in the margin, a name, Daniel. Below it, "Don't trust the radio." The discovery changed everything. Investigators began considering criminal activity. Perhaps Daniel had encountered someone dangerous. Perhaps another person occupied the area. Perhaps the mysterious transmission was intended to lure rescuers somewhere specific. Federal authorities quietly joined the investigation. Publicly, officials released almost nothing. Privately, concern intensified. 3 days later, canine teams followed a scent trail south of the abandoned cabin. The trail led toward an old fire road, closed since the 1980s. Roughly 4 miles farther, searchers found Daniel Mercer, alive, barely. He lay inside a collapsed maintenance shed, partially hidden beneath vegetation. Hypothermic, dehydrated, delirious, but alive. When paramedics stabilized him, investigators expected answers. Instead, Daniel created more questions. His first statement confused everyone. "Where's Ethan?" Detectives exchanged looks. "Who?" "The ranger." "What ranger?" "The one who found me." Daniel became agitated. He said help was coming. Investigators avoided explaining Ethan's status. Instead, they showed Daniel a photograph. His reaction was immediate. "That's him." The room went quiet. Daniel insisted the ranger had located him 2 nights after he became lost. According to his account, he had fallen into a ravine and injured his leg. Unable to hike out, he spent days wandering through unfamiliar terrain. Eventually, he reached the abandoned cabin. There, he encountered a uniformed ranger. The ranger introduced himself as Ethan. Daniel remembered the name because it appeared on the ranger's badge. He had a radio, Daniel said. He kept trying to contact somebody. Then what happened? He left. Why? He said he heard someone outside. Daniel claimed Ethan walked into the darkness and never returned. The story sounded impossible. Investigators assumed confusion caused by exposure and dehydration, until Daniel mentioned something nobody had told him: the ranger's injury. He had a scar here. Daniel pointed to his forehead. Ethan Cole had suffered a deep laceration during the accident that killed him. The injury never appeared in media reports. Daniel couldn't have known. At least not easily. Investigators dug deeper into Ethan's final rescue mission. For months, nobody had questioned the official account. Now they did. Records showed Ethan and 2 fellow rangers responded to reports of illegal camping near Avalanche Ridge. During severe weather, Communication became unreliable. Hours later, Ethan fell. Case closed. Or so everyone believed. But archived GPS data revealed something odd. His last recorded route deviated nearly 7 miles from the assigned search area. Nobody had noticed because the deviation occurred shortly before signal loss. When analysts reconstructed the track, the route pointed toward Black Pine Creek, the same region mentioned in the mysterious transmission, the same region where Daniel eventually disappeared. The coincidence bothered investigators. Then they discovered another detail. 3 months before Ethan's death, park maintenance crews reported unauthorized activity around several abandoned facilities, supporting Master City Systems protesting. Most reports returned to attention. Federal agents called for their wins. Volunteers. One retired ranger remembered something strange. A conversation with Ethan shortly before his death. He asked about old maps. What kind? Historical maps. Facilities that no longer existed. Why? He wouldn't say. The investigation widened. Boxes of archived records emerged from storage. Survey documents, construction plans, maintenance reports. Among thousands of pages sat a forgotten project from 1978, an emergency wilderness communications network. The system involved relay stations hidden throughout remote sections of the park. Most had been abandoned decades ago. Many no longer appeared on official maps. One station stood less than 2 miles from the abandoned cabin. Search crews visited the site. The structure resembled a concrete bunker, buried beneath vegetation. The entrance door had rusted partially open. Inside, investigators found recent footprints. Someone had definitely entered. Equipment covered in dust filled the room. Most appeared useless, except one section. A radio console, powered, operational, and recently used. Technicians examined the system. The equipment wasn't connected to modern networks. It shouldn't have functioned at all. Yet diagnostic logs showed transmissions occurring periodically over the previous 6 months. Dozens of them. Some lasted seconds, others minutes. Most were corrupted, unintelligible. But one recording stood out. The timestamp matched the night Ethan supposedly died. Investigators restored the damaged audio. The room fell silent as speakers crackled to life. At first came wind, then footsteps, then Ethan's voice, real. Undeniably real. Breathing heavily. Dispatch, I've got something out here. Static. I found a structure. More static. I don't think this is on any current map. Then another voice entered the recording. Not dispatch. Not another ranger. Someone nearby. A male voice. Low. Calm. Turn that off. Several seconds passed. Ethan responded. Who are you? The recording ended. Nobody ever identified the second speaker. The revelation shattered assumptions surrounding Ethan's death. His final known moments involved a location omitted from official reports. A location connected to Daniel Mercer. A location connected to mysterious radioactivity. Attention shifted toward the possibility that Ethan hadn't simply suffered an accident. Maybe he had encountered someone. Maybe someone had remained hidden in the park for years. The theory gained traction after investigators discovered evidence of long-term habitation near the communications bunker. Not a campsite, not temporary shelter, a settlement. Tiny, crude, but permanent. Several concealed structures blended into the forest. Food stores, water collection systems, solar panels, beds, tools, enough supplies to support multiple people. Yet nobody occupied the site. It appeared abandoned only recently. Search teams expanded farther. What they uncovered created a nightmare. The settlement wasn't new. Tree growth patterns suggested portions had existed for years, possibly decades. Hidden inside one structure sat filing cabinets. Inside the cabinets were documents, maps, photographs, park records, surveillance notes, thousands of pages, many focused on visitors, license plates, trail registrations, campground records, names, Dates, movements. Someone had been tracking people entering the park. For years, federal authorities immediately secured the area. Public access closed. News coverage remained minimal. Most details never reached newspapers. But one discovery leaked. A photograph. The image showed Ethan Cole standing near the communications bunker. The timestamp preceded his death by several days. He had found the site before the accident and apparently returned. The leak generated speculation. Conspiracy theories exploded online. Secret government projects, underground facilities, missing persons connections. None were proven. Investigators remained focused on evidence. Then came the final shock. Among the recovered documents sat an audio archive, hundreds of recorded radio transmissions. Many involved ordinary park traffic, others involved emergency calls, missing hikers, rescue requests, medical incidents. Most dated back years. One file carried a recent timestamp, September 14th, the night Daniel Mercer was reported. Technicians played it. The recording captured Ethan's voice, clearer than ever. "This is Ranger Cole. I need immediate response." The same message heard by dispatch, except this version continued. The public recording had ended after 27 seconds. This one lasted nearly 2 minutes. Ethan described Daniel's injuries, his location, his condition. Then he said something that never aired publicly. "Tell them not to come alone." Static followed. "Then, he knows they're listening." Investigators replayed the line repeatedly. Nobody understood it. The transmission ended with distant movement and a metallic sound resembling a door closing. No further audio existed. Despite months of investigation, authorities never located whoever occupied the hidden settlement. No fingerprints matched criminal databases. No DNA produced identification. No arrests occurred. Officially, Ethan Cole's death remains classified as an accidental fall. Officially, Daniel Mercer survived a wilderness emergency. Officially, the abandoned communications bunker posed no threat to public safety. Yet several facts remain unresolved. The hidden settlement was real. The radio transmissions were real. The unidentified voice in Ethan's final recording was real. And perhaps most disturbing of all, technicians eventually determined the September 14th distress call could not have originated from the evidence locker radio, nor from the bunker, nor from any active park communication system. According to signal analysis, the transmission came from somewhere between the two locations. A section of forest, thoroughly searched multiple times. No equipment was ever found. No transmitter. No camp. No structure. Nothing. Years later, a former federal investigator gave an off-the-record interview. He claimed one piece of evidence never became public. A final audio fragment recovered from damaged storage drives. The clip lasted less than 5 seconds. Most of it was static. But near the end, another voice could supposedly be heard. Not Ethan, not Daniel. The unidentified man from the bunker recording. According to the investigator, the voice said only 6 words. "He wasn't supposed to find us." The original file has never been released. Authorities deny its existence. The settlement remains abandoned. The bunker remains sealed. And every September, park communications staff reportedly receive brief bursts of interference on frequencies no longer assigned to any active equipment. The sounds never last more than a few seconds. Most contain nothing intelligible. We have to remember real commercial assets. Most contain nothing intelligible.
Most are dismissed as atmospheric noise, but one dispatcher claims she heard a complete sentence during a transmission spike 3 years ago. She documented it in an internal memo. No explanation followed. The sentence was simple, calm, professional. Exactly the way Ranger Ethan Cole used to sound. I'm still waiting for the rest of the team.